Hello, Max here. I will walk you through the story plot of the 2020 romantic comedy film, Rich in Love. Not too far from Rio de Janeiro, in Patti do Alfiers, the Trincoso family owns a quite successful tomato company. One day, while giving potential investors the grand tour, owner Teodoro discovers a couple fooling around in a tomato sauce fountain. Flashback a month ago, Teodoro's son Teto wakes up next to a young woman he just met last night. Not even remembering her name, he checks her ID to find out it's Anna. A spoiled rich boy never having worked a day in his life, Teto devotes all his time partying and picking up girls. In the morning, his best friend and employee, Igor, always guides Teto's conquests out. Tired of Teto being useless, Teodoro decides to have a chat with him later about his future. Without worrying, Teto asks Igor to skip class in order to spend the afternoon together, betting some cash to convince him. Following a wild horse race, they try out the new car Teto wants for his birthday. In Rio de Janeiro, Paula and her roommates start their working day as medical students doing their internships. Paula's working hard for a residency. It appears that she already won because Dr. Victor keeps flirting with her rather inappropriately for the workplace. However, Paula feels very uncomfortable progressing based on her looks instead of her skills. After work, the girls take the bus to the tomato festival. Out the window, they notice Teto and Igor speeding by like crazy and call them playboy losers. The two are stopped by the police, but when they see Teodoro's son behind the wheel, the police let them go without a ticket. Later, Teto joins his dad for a little chat. Teodoro tells him that he won't be buying the car because he wants Teto to earning it by working at the company. He introduces Teto to Monique, a junior company executive. She'll be guiding Teto, but he doesn't pay attention to what Monique says. Even when she confides her story about making her way up with hard work, Teto simply takes off to attend the tomato festival. As night falls, the festival rocks in full swing. Igor shows up and unsuccessfully attempts to enter the VIP section. Although Teto intervenes and lets him in, Igor is annoyed from not being included in the VIP list. Not getting how shy Igor really is, Teto invited Igor's crush from school. Unfortunately, the girl ignores Igor, only concentrating on and even kissing Teto. Frustrated, Igor decides to leave, but Teto apologizes, explaining that wasn't his plan. Igor lectures Teto how women come easy to him due to his status, never knowing any real interest in him or not. Teto argues that he did not include his name on the list because he's family, not a random guest. Then, by removing his expensive jacket and necklaces, he joins the normal crowd. The tomato fight starts, but Paula and her friends are staying away considering it a waste of food. Teto joins the fight by throwing a tomato at Paula, who gets angry at him. But she's surprised to see three men harassing her friends. Teto intervenes to help, but they break his nose and, realizing who he is, they run away. Teto is escorted to a quiet spot where Paula attempts to fix his nose, scolding him for getting involved in the fight. Her friends want to have fun as a bachelorette party, so they leave Paula to help Teto clean up the blood. Teto takes Paula along to find tap water, pretending to live at the greenhouse because his dad is a farm employee. However, he'd like to attend college in Rio. He asks her out and attempts to kiss her, but Paula declines and leaves. In the morning, Teodoro shows up with the new car Teto wanted and he promises to work for it. Teto meets Igor and shares his plan. He'll go find Paula in Rio, because she is a special girl, the first one that ever rejected him. To conquer her, Teto will enter the company trainee program pretending to be Igor and get the job like anyone else. To make Igor enter as well using his name, Teto challenges him. Since there's only one spot available, whoever gets it will also keep the new car. The two move to Rio at the apartment Teodoro uses when he is there for business. Recalling Paula and her friends mentioning a wedding, Teto sneaks into the party that night. He exchanges clothes with a janitor and acts as if he works there. Suddenly, Anna, whose cousin is the one getting married, bumps into him, but Teto smartly devises an excuse to slip away. He follows Paula until she is alone and then he makes his move. Lying again, he tells her that he abandoned all behind for his dream, which impresses Paula. Victor interrupts them to take Paula away from a janitor. However, to stop him bothering her, she kisses Teto. The two take a stroll on the beach. Teto seeks Paula's sympathy, saying he sees the ocean for the first time since his family was too poor to travel. He mentions he's joining the trainee program because hard work is important and tries to kiss her, but Paula rejects him again. The following day, Teto and Igor start their internship. They bump on Monique, who has been fired, and she departs frustrated. They meet the marketing director, Celio, who shows a liking for Igor, thinking he is Teto. Alana, who is leading the intern team, is instructed by Celio to give the boss's son a special treatment. She asks Teto to make coffee, and for his first time, the resulting taste is quite horrible. Next, he is asked to print a presentation, but the printer jams, leading to a disaster. Igor, however, impresses Alana by making great coffee, although she she thinks he's the well-known spoiled Teto. Teto overhears them, and in order to match Igor's performance, he asks Monique's assistance. He drives her home in his brand new car, and Monique intervenes to save him from trouble with her curious neighbors. Teto is surprised by her tiny apartment, living with her sick sister and nephew, and assures her that he means business. He needs her to show him how to work hard in order to get the position based on merit and not favors. However, Teto can't pay her since his dad forces him to earn his own money. Thus, Monique, who needs a real job to pay her sister's doctor, turns him down. Teto comes up with an idea, and heads to pick up Paula from the hospital. He drives to Monique's place for Paula to examine the sister. Paula arranges a few exams with the hospital. Grateful, Monique accepts Teto's offer. When he wins the position, he'll give her his new car. Glad to being helpful, Paula accepts Teto's invitation to go on a date. Early next morning, Monique wakes up Teto, teaching him the importance of not oversleeping. Learning how to use the printer, he gets the presentation documents ready, but Celio notes it's the wrong ones, so Alana blames him, making him shred it off, while Igor remains at the meeting. Feeling like he's being picked on, Teto is advised by Monique to find an ally. The team's next task is coming up with something cool for the incoming ad campaign. Celio is impressed when Teto asks for free samples to work on ideas at home. Monique shows Teto the best inexpensive date spots in the city. He takes Paula out dancing, and she is impressed by the moves Monique showed him. Paula confides to him that her parents were broke when they got married, and, since their divorce, her mother only dated rich guys, thus making her very codependent. Thinking about his dead mother, Teto wonders if she ever felt really free around his father. Paula tells him his mother would be proud of him. They kiss, and Paula suggests going to his place. Panicky, Teto texts Igor asking him to prepare his place. Luckily, Igor quickly comes up with a plan. He asks the custodian, Francisco, to let them have his place for the night, while he could sleep in Teto's luxurious bed. When Teto and Paula arrive, he presents Francisco as his uncle living with him, until he finishes his training. The apartment is small and sort of ugly, but Paula doesn't mind. They spent the night together. In the morning at work, the interns are expected to present their ad campaign ideas. Igor presents a new tomato mascot, but Teto has designed a tomato sauce fountain. While Alana takes Igor's side, Celio clearly likes Teto's idea. Alana decides to combine the two ideas, putting up both boys as project heads. In the evening, Paula comes to pick up Teto. Before walking inside, Alana warns her of Teto's reputation. Teto and Igor hide when they see them together. As Alana finds them, Igor tells her Paula is a compulsive stalker, and she secretly helps Igor out through a back door. Teto joins Paula, and when he learns what Alana told her about him, explains that she simply does not want him to get the position since she's favoring the president's son. Paula buys it, and they go back to his place again. Meanwhile, as thanks for her help, Alana asks Igor to take her out. Unable to pay for a date, Igor invites Alana to the apartment and impresses her with his cooking. She finds it sweet for a rich, spoiled boy to be both hardworking and shy, so she can't resist kissing him, and the two spend the night together. Teto and Paula are also having fun until she receives a text from Monique asking for help. Her sister isn't well. The two get a cab, but the driver refuses to enter Monique's neighborhood, being too dangerous. They get out nearby in the pouring rain, but Teto discovers a lost horse. Paula jumps behind, and they ride to Monique's place. Her sister is having a seizure, and Paula helps her recover. Teto attends the kid, but he won't stop crying. So, he attempts to feed him, but he only knows how to cook an egg. After messing up a bit, Teto makes a face with the scrambled egg. Finally, when fed, the kid calms down. When Paula is finished with her patient, she blows up a latex glove and paints a face on it as a toy for the kid. The two are bonding pretty well while babysitting. Early morning, Teto returns to his place to catch some sleep before work. Since Francisco is sleeping in his bed, he goes to Igor's, not noticing Alana under the covers. Seeing only Teto's back, Alana thinks it's Igor and gets up to make breakfast. When Francisco wakes up, Alana takes him for Teodoro, so he plays along. Teto is mad at Igor for cheating by sleeping with the boss, but Igor argues that's what he has been doing forever. Now he just needs to accept the reversal of their roles. When Alana returns, Teto hides under the bed. Instead of getting dressed to leave, Alana and Igor fool around again. Exhausted, Teto falls asleep and thus arrives late at work. Alana scolds him and says that she's about to put Igor in charge of the project. In the following days, Teto is watchful of Igor guiding the team, while Paula continues to receive Victor's advances at work. Her friends attempt to help out by slipping a sedative into Victor's coffee. The girls organize a luau celebrating their incoming graduation, and while meeting with Teto, Paula invites him too. When they bump into Teodoro, Paula scolds him for getting in the way of his son's dreams. Teto assures her that it's okay, and when she leaves, Teodoro tells him him the news. Teto has to attend an important meeting with potential investors if he wants to take over the company someday. But it's on the same evening with the luau, so Teto agrees on the condition that he chooses the restaurant. However, Alana heard about this meeting and asks Igor to come as his escort. To make this work, Teto plans to choose a restaurant near the luau, thus dividing his time between Teodoro and Paula. Regarding Igor, a few paid actors will pretend to be the investors, and Francisco will play Teodoro's part once again. That evening, Igor takes Alana and the actors to another side of the restaurant where Teto and his dad are. By making up all kinds of excuses, Teto runs back and forth between the meeting and the luau, changing his clothes in between. When talking to Paula, Teto accidentally drinks from a glass that was supposed to be for Victor loaded with pills. Back at the meeting, the pills cause him to make fool of himself, like getting upset as he finds out that Teodoro fired Monique to give him that position. He returns to the luau, but forgets to take off the suit and grabs Victor's guitar to serenade Paula. Distracted, he steps on the fire, burning his leg. After putting it off in the sea, he runs back to the restaurant to swap clothes with Igor. Right when Anna arrives at the party, she sees Teto run away. Paula mentions that she's dating him and Anna reveals the truth. When Teodoro walks into the restaurant restroom, he finds Teto and Igor changing clothes. Teto gets upset when Teodoro tells him to forget the meeting, but Igor notes that this incident could get his whole family fired. Teto returns to the luau, but angry for being lied to, Paula breaks up with him. Teto starts to explain, but the pills make him pass out. As Paula leaves, she bumps into Victor, who reveals that she won the residency. Paula, however, tells him it doesn't matter because she is not going to work with a creep. Anna finds Teto sick and helps him back to his apartment. After their nice dinner, Alana urges Igor to spend the night together again, but because they can have no privacy at his place, they choose another location. That next morning, the story rewinds to the beginning, revealing that Teodoro found Alana and Igor in the fountain. Teto wakes up next to Anna, and although nothing happened between them, when Teodoro walks in, he thinks Teto is acting irresponsibly again and kicks him out. Teto asks Monique to stay at her place, and she accepts provided he helps with the chores. During the laundry, Teto finds Paula's glove balloon and decides to seek her again. He catches her at the bus stop and attempts to win her back, but Paula won't listen as she's leaving for the Amazon for a physician volunteer program. Broken, Teto refuses to go to the company ceremony, but Monique drags him there. However, she gets upset when hearing that this is to fill the position she was fired from. Alana meets the real Teodoro, and when Celio announces Teto as the winner, both he and Igor stand up. The two confess everything, and following their apology, Teto notes that Monique deserves this job more than anyone and she should have never been fired. As Igor and Teto are leaving, Monique and Alana follow them. Alana confesses to Igor that she likes him regardless, and they kiss. Monique asks for the car as compensation for being fired so Teto could get her job. Igor wants her to get it even if the car is still Teto's because he won the bet. To avoid an argument, Teto proposes selling the car and invest the money together. A year later, the four of them run a successful business growing organic tomatoes. On Teto's birthday, he gets two surprise visits: Teodoro, finally proud of his son, and Paula, impressed at the changes on him. After squashing a tomato on his face for lying, Paula kisses Teto, giving him now a second chance. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment or feedback and subscribe for more. Cheers.